first few days of the Tulsa Fund. What is it up to right now?
I think we're about 9.7 million in 5 days.
That's amazing, man. And
Yeah, we're still. Seems like Mysonne's having some technical difficulties. Jay, can you hear me?
I do hear you.
Okay, I'm sorry for the little feedback and everything. I know a lot of people have been asking about the new Tulsa Real Estate Fund. Before we get into that, of course, with the big venture that you're getting in now with this whole platform, tell the audience a little bit about yourself if they don't already know you.
Gotcha. So one, appreciate the invite to both of you. And my son's my brother, and we've been on the front line together. And just a real man, real stand-up dude, and that's what I believe we all gotta be. But yeah, just short bio on me. I don't never know if I want to start from the beginning or start now and work my way backwards. So I'll start now. So now my name is Jay Morrison. I just retired the name Mr. Real Estate. That was a common name I went by for about a decade, Mr. Real Estate. I retired it in January here in Atlanta. I put my jersey up in the rafters.
Up in the rafters,
Yeah. I am the CEO, founder, and fund manager of the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, which is the first ever in history 100% black owned, SEC regulated real estate crowd fund in the country. I'm also the CEO and founder of the Jay Morrison Academy, my online wealth education institute, and co-founder of Easy Funding, where we do small business funding, unsecured, uncollateralized stated income loans for small businesses, amongst other entities and initiatives. I'm a 3-time author, 2-time best-selling author. I am what some call an activist or community leader. I've been a part of several demonstrations throughout the country. My fiance is Ernestine Johnson. We'll be married in about 44 days or so.
EJ.
Hey, she just left out too. But she and I, along with T.I., shut down the Houston's restaurant here in Atlanta after we were discriminated against. Many of you seen that. I've also been around the country for 3 years doing what's called the corner class, something I coined where I go to the street corners. I was there in the Bronx with Mysonne
That's right.
with about 300 people on the corner of Fordham Road, where
That's
I
right.
teach real estate and wealth education on the corner. And I'll be back this year for another corner class tour in September. So those are
That's
some of
right.
the things I've done currently, accomplishments. Run a multi-million-dollar enterprise. I guess what's special about my story, I would say first and foremost, is that I'm very okay with being humble about my accomplishments, and I got to give God the glory for all my accomplishments. I was not always humble. I had my arrogant phase and my feeling myself phase, but through maturity, uh, through grace and all that other good stuff, I found a new way and I evolved. But I come from the corner. I come from the corner. Actually, I left the corner of 10th and Springfield in Newark, New Jersey, on the South Side in 2005, where I spent 10 years in the streets from 15 to 25 years old selling dope, trafficking, and also 2.5 years in prison. Former high school dropout, former welfare kid, Section 8 kid, and was a street dude, was a trap star. And at 25 years old, walked away from the corner and took my shot into real estate and mortgages and being a celebrity realtor. And I was the first African man in America hired by Prominent Properties, Sotheby's International Realty, and a bunch of other cool stats that I've accomplished in the corporate space. But for me, coming off the block, that within itself, and just surviving and just making it as a 3-time felon, as someone who sat on Rikers Island, a Mod 3 Upper C-74, and now to be here in my corner office in Buckhead in Atlanta, Georgia, running a multi-million-dollar business and just launching the historical IPO, initial public offering of a 100% black-owned real estate crowd fund. All of that is, who I am. But if I were to give you a takeaway of who I am, what I'm about, I have dedicated my life to loving and serving my people. That's what I'm about, is serving my people, be an example of what a man looks like, a real man looks like when you come back to save the village.
Okay, so what made you want to get involved with real estate? Like, what made you say from the corner, from dope, from all of that to say I want to do real estate? Like, what was the
It's
motivation behind that?
Yeah. God was planting seeds with me since I was 17. So I remember being 17. I was hustling in Baltimore, and it's an OG in Baltimore named Kenny Bird, and He's the owner of El Dorado Strip Club. He owns El Dorado Strip Club now, but back in 1998, he was a security guard. And he was like my big homie. He was the cool dude, a little skinny dude from Jersey. He just took me under his wing and just showed me love. And one day, Kenny and I were on the west side of Baltimore. I had a Rolex, blue-face Rolex, little bracelet. And he was like, Slim, you can buy all the cars and jewelry you want, but God ain't making no more land. Buy land. And I was like, yeah, that shit makes sense. And then I went out and bought another watch. You know what I'm saying? But so then years later, coming home from prison in the year 2000, my mom, I'm staying at my grandmother's house in Somerville, New Jersey. My mom knocks on the door. It's like, hey, Maine, I'm about to close on the house today, but I need $3,000 and I'm short. And I was like, all right. I was like, go to the Timberland box right there. And you know what I mean? My mom went and got some bands and she went and closed on a house, FHA, 3% down. And my mom bought the first house our family ever owned, you know, growing up in low-income housing, all of that. And 3 years after owning the house went up in value $100,000. And we ended up cashing out on a property. And my mom was in foreclosure at the time because my stepfather, rest in peace, was suffering from a heroin addiction, right? And so all the money that was coming in the house was going out the house. So she was behind on taxes, behind on the mortgage. And so when I was like 22, 23 years old, here I am. I'm driving around in a brand new Navigator. I bought cash off the lot. I'm stunting. I'm balling. I'm all this. But my mom is in foreclosure and a tax lien. So I'm like, that ain't proper. So I sold my truck, paid my mom's tax lien off. And she's like, yo, when I get right, I'm going to take care of you. I'm like, don't even worry about it. So we ended up selling the house. She made $100,000. She gave me $33,000. And I had gave her like 10 for the tax lien. So I just tripled my money just by helping moms out on the tax lien. I'm like, yo, this real estate joint, like, this shit all right. We just made 100 on the to the good legally. And so those seeds were planted as well as when I was on parole, when I was 22 years old, on his intense supervision parole program. One of my mentors in the parole program referred me to a mortgage company. And for 6 months, I worked at a mortgage company while on parole. And I learned how to be a loan officer, fix credit. I learned a little paperwork stuff. And I made like $6,000 in 1 month just refinancing houses. And that was another little seed. Like, damn, I just made 6 racks pushing papers. Like, this ain't, I ain't got to look over my shoulder. This ain't that bad. So I still was trapping, though. I still was stuck in the streets, but the seeds was planted. Like, there's other opportunities if you pursue them. So fast forward to a day where I'm on 10th in Springfield in Newark, New Jersey. I got bricks of dope. My partner was one of the generals for the Sex, Money, Murder, Bloods. And I'm in the midst of all the bullshit. And I just, at 5 in the morning, we open our shop up. I'm like, yo, I'm 25, about to turn 25 years old. I'm like, yo, where you going to be when you're 30? And I knew I could only picture being dead or in jail. It's like I literally picture myself in a tan suit behind bars or my head leaking on a curb. I literally pictured it. And then I tried to reimagine it, and I couldn't picture nothing else other than being dead or in jail. So I'm like, all right, if you can't even see your own success, why would you stay in the same shit? So I was like, you know what? Cold turkey that day. I had like 4 ounces left. I gave it to my man. I had my trap phone. I was driving down the street, threw it out the window, cracked it. And I was like, yo, I'm going to try this real estate shit. Because I always played around with it. I never like went in. I just played around with it, 1 foot in, 1 foot out, dabbled. I was like, yo, I'm going to try this real estate full time. Because what I said to myself is, if you really a hustler can hustle anything.
That's
a
right.
drug dealer only can sell drugs.
That's
a
right.
hustler can hustle anything. I said, Jay, if you really the man, you should be able to take your same charisma, same energy, same hustle, and go into real estate and tear it up just how you did the block. And that was my challenge to myself. And my first 9 months in real estate game, I went broke. I spent everything I had. I was trying to figure out how to send emails, how to speak properly, how to dress properly. I have no corporate etiquette. I wasn't even ready for that. But before I gave up, because I was about to give up after 9 months because I wasn't making no money. Before I gave up, I made $13,000 that last month. I actually was calling around for prices uptown. I'm like, yo, how much prices right now? And that month I was about to give up, I made $13,000. The next month I made $30,000. 4 months later, I made $93,000 in real estate. And since then, I ain't never looked back. Made my first $1 million in 3 years.
That's commendable, brother.
So
fast forward. So what made you? So we see the real estate, and I know you're a hustler, and I know you got a mind state, and I've been around you. So what made you decide that you wanted to be involved with the movement? Like, what made you say, I want to utilize this for my people. Like, what was your turning point becoming an activist?
Yeah, two things. So first, I became an economic activist first. So I
Mm-hmm.
had this luxurious job as a celebrity realtor on NBC. I did a show on Sundays called NBC Open House NYC. And I also was a real estate expert for the Today Show, while working at Sotheby's. But I had this calling to teach I was thinking about our community and I was doing wealth stats. That's what it was. I was doing research for my first book, Hip Hop to Homeowners. And I was doing research and I saw how the black community, the Africans in America, we were dead last in every single wealth stat, and especially home ownership. And so I was like, well, how can we change that? And I was like, well, I could educate everybody now, but if we teach our youth and our teenagers credit and real estate and everything I learned, we teach them early, they won't make the same mistakes that we made, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so I wrote my book, Hip Hop to Homeowners, and then I was like, yo, I'm gonna do this in high schools. But I was like, yo, high school kids ain't gonna wanna learn this shit. So I was like, how can I make it fun? So I got with DJ Littleman in Newark, New Jersey, and I did February 10th of 2012. I did a high school assembly called Hip Hop to Homeowners, where I had credit score signs, like 4 greenhouse monopoly signs, had dance contests, and I mixed in music, teaching financial literacy and real estate and credit and FICO scores and all of that. And so at the end of this engagement, an hour-long presentation, first time trying it out the gate, I asked the kids at the end, I was like, 450 kids. I'm on stage with the microphone. I'm like, all right, y'all, let me see what y'all learn. I was like, what's the definition of credit? And I put the mic out, and the kids yelled out, the ability to make payments over time. And like, they all grasped what I taught them in an hour. And I literally shed tears. And I was like, yo, this is crazy. Like, I just taught a whole auditorium of our people something they never would have got in high school, or most of them didn't got until later in life. And
That's
so I
right.
did 10 schools my first month and 30 schools the first year, just teaching real estate. And, went on a breakfast club with Angela Yee, who was one of my clients. And then, started building my brand, put stuff out on World Star Hip Hop, positive messages. And so I was an economic activist at that point. And it was like, I wanted to bridge the wealth gap for our people, but I knew nothing about our social or political oppression. I just knew, like, money-wise, we were messed up. I didn't know about COINTELPRO. I didn't know about Jim Crow like that. I didn't know about the 13th Amendment loophole. I didn't know that until I was doing a real estate conference in Las Vegas. I was lecturing in Las Vegas. And during our lunch break, this black woman came up to me, Anelia Wright, and was like, Jay, I know you're a celebrity realtor. You know a lot of people and celebrities. My brother was lynched in Texas. His name is Alfred Wright. And I got chills because 2 nights before that event in Las Vegas, I was at my condo in New Jersey, and I saw Anderson Cooper cover a story of a black man found naked in the woods with his eyes gouged out, teeth missing, ear cut off, right? Mutilated. And I literally got chills in my house and was tearing up. And I met his sister 2 days later in Vegas, and she asked me to participate and bring a light to her brother's case. And so I
Mm.
flew to Texas and went to my first panel and my first demonstration in Jasper, Texas, in the boonies, redneck territory. And I went and protested and demonstrated with the New Black Panther Party, United Black Front, the Alfred Wright family, and others. And I never felt so invigorated and empowered in my life to where I stood on the front line and stood up for my people and stood up for injustice. And from there, I was hooked. It was a wrap.
I identify with that because that's pretty much how it was to me. The first time I was in tears, and then I went to my first march and was like, "Wow, this is where I belong." So I definitely can identify with that.
Yep.
So fast forward to now.
Yep.
So where did the idea of the Tulsa Fund come?
So one day in 2014, as my following was growing, right, I had an email database of 30,000 people. Instagram followers was getting up there a little bit, 30, 40,000. You know what I mean? I'm like, I wonder how much money in my list. I wonder how many people would actually invest in how I was curious. And so I put out an Instagram post and an email, and I was like, hey, I had some deals in Cleveland I was doing, some real estate deals. And I was like, yo, I'm thinking about taking on some partners. I got some real estate deals, and I don't need no partners, but just because I want just, whoever got 10,000 or more, hit me up. So I didn't know how it was going to happen. I got 88 responses in an hour. I'm like, yo, that's 880,000 right there, off the bat. And I wasn't even prepared to take it or nothing. And then I found out from my attorney that you couldn't publicly solicit like that. It's breaking what's called a blue sky law or whatever. So I deleted everything, whatever. And I was like, well, how do I do that then? How can I leverage my influence to be able to pool dollars to be able to bridge this wealth gap and buy more? Because when I was in as I've been in real estate and mortgages and all that, one of the biggest issues in the urban community and why we suffer from gentrification so much is that other communities pool their dollars together, buy up our community, kick us out, and then they own everything because they come together and pull their dollars together. So I was like, well, how can we do that for our community? But I know we don't trust each other, right? So I was like, how can we do it in a way that's transparent, that's trustworthy, and that's regulated? And I started doing a research. This is in 2014. Mind you, the fund just launched not even a week ago. It took 4 years of research and development to me to figure out how to pull it all off and the right regulations and getting the right capital together and the right attorneys and auditors and staff and everything else for us to be able to pull off a regulated, transparent, and sophisticated real estate investment crowd fund for our people.
So give us an overall, but give us the definition of what the fund is for dummies. For somebody's at home, because a lot of people are like, yo, I want to invest, but I don't really understand. They want to invest because they hear something for Black people. So they believe in us and they like, yo, I'm with you. I notice he with you. Let's figure it out. Like, I want to know. Tell me what it is. So I want you to break it down for dummies. Somebody that never did real estate, never just want to be a part of being a part of history and involving and doing something that's going to create intergenerational wealth.
Absolutely. So for years, for centuries, we've typically pulled our money together, but did it through the churches, where we would donate money and then hope or trust that the pastor or leadership of the church would do something productive for the ministry or for the church. Or we would donate to nonprofits or organizations, right? Mm-hmm. Marcus Garvey was the first African man in America to actually raise capital publicly on a large scale. In 1919, Marcus Garvey raised $800,000, which is equivalent to $11.95 million today. And he bought the Black Star Line corporation or started the Black Star Line Corporation and bought boats and ships for us to import, export, and go back to Africa. Right? The government infiltrated that and they extradited him, et cetera, and that, longevity didn't go well. Now, our fund is simply the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, named after Tulsa, Oklahoma community of Black Wall Street. Our fund is simply a vehicle that we never had as a community to be able to put all our money in one pot, to pull it together. So we're offering 1 million shares of our company, the Tulsa Real Estate Fund, to the public. Our shares are $50 per share. The minimum investment is 10 shares. So you must spend $500, invest $500 for 10 shares of ownership and equity in this company. But now with this pot of capital, right, this fund that's regulated and transparent, every investor gets an 8% preferred return. So compare where your money's sitting right now in your mattress, your shoebox, your CD, your checking account, your Merrill Lynch, your 401k, your pension account, self-directed IRA, bonds, wherever your money's at. Our investors get an 8% preferred return, which means before we split any profits, our investors got to see 8% first. After that 8% preferred return, we then split profits with the investors 50-50 as the fund managers. So all we're doing is creating a vehicle that we never had in our lifetime of generation to pull our money together in an organized way, take that capital, go buy back our blocks, create Black Wall Streets, buy up land, do sophisticated, organized, and well-evaluated and well-vetted deals, real estate deals, hotel. We look at 2 hotels next week. Hotels, hospitals, schools, all that. And now we go acquire it. We all own it together. We're the fund managers. Yes, we manage it. I have the risk. I have the liability. I'm the fund fiduciary and steward. Things go great, it's on me. Things go bad, it's on me. And I chose to be in the hot seat because our people needed some kind of vehicle to organize our dollars and put those dollars to use for the best interest of our people. And so the fund is just a vehicle. It's a crowd fund. It's SEC regulated, Security Exchange Commission regulated, and you guys can open your Freedom account at TulsaRealEstateFund.com. It is equivalent to me to funding the Underground Railroad. It is funding our economic freedom to have dollars for self, for us and by us.
So that makes sense. I get it. You broke it down to me. So the questions that keep asking me is, how do we ensure that we're going to get our return on our money? Like, what is the risk? Like, How are you going? Is he able to ensure that we're going to make our money back? Like,
right. That's a great question. No, I can't ensure that. There are no guarantees. Legally, I can't even guarantee you. I want to guarantee you. I want to, on my word, on my bond, I want to guarantee you, but legally, I can't guarantee you. It's against the law.
there's really no. That's part of business. That there is really no guarantees. There's
There's
an
not.
investment.
If
Anybody
North
who does,
Korea comes over here and starts bombing ish, and the Wall Street markets collapse, and you know what I'm saying?
you're gonna say you guaranteed. You guarantee this.
You can't do
Exactly.
that. Your 401k is not guaranteed. Your mutual fund is not guaranteed. Your IRA is not guaranteed. So we got to be more financially mature and compare apples to apples and oranges to oranges. Those REITs, those hedge funds, the ones that own all of downtown New York, they in funds together. The Jewish community, Korean community, the Russian community, those are not guaranteed either. So you have to trust the process and trust the fund manager and trust that my resume, that my background, that my astuteness, that my diligence, that my responsibility, my wisdom is sufficient to make sure that we all right. And that's the call that you got to make based on, you know, your diligence and your research and your vetting. I'm gonna go out here and get the bag.
That's pretty much what I say to everybody. You know, I say I know Jay, and I know his, you know, I know his will. I know his drive. And you know, it's very few people that I feel as driven as me. You know. So I wake up in the morning, I look at Jay's page. I'm like, all right, we got to outwork the work. You know, some days I'm tired. I'll be like, nah, Jay ain't sleep. I can't sleep because I know he out there working. So it's motivational, and that's what I say. I say, you know, we got to invest in something. You know,
right. What else
you
you
go.
want? All right, you don't invest in my fund. Fine, our fund. It's not even my fund. I'm just the manager. It's our fund. I created it for us. I don't own the fund. I literally don't own it. I'm just the manager. You don't have to invest in that. Where are you gonna go?
Yeah, that's what I say. I say we have to invest in something. Why not invest in one of ours that's proven, who shows every day his love and his want for our people to grow. You know, who goes to corner class and give corner class and educate you on how you can make money every day without, he's not charging you. He wants you to have the ability, the literacy, somebody who's donated his knowledge and his time for the betterment of our people. Like, that's something I'm willing to bet on. I'm willing to make a bet on that because I see the willingness. I know what it takes to be in this movement. Me personally, understanding what it takes to be on these front lines, to what it takes to stand in front of certain people and say things that are not as, you know, as celebrated, and, you know, to stand with, to go against the status quo, the people who are really making money, and understand that every time you speak about Black empowerment, that you're making it harder for yourself if your people don't support you. Because when you speak about Black empowerment, everybody else is saying to themselves, oh, we can't let them get there. So what you do is you pretty much alienate yourself from the people who are comfortable with us being asleep. So understanding that, this is why I say to myself, I'm willing to make that. Then I'm willing to make that sacrifice to, you know, to invest in that because I believe in that. But for people, listen.
You know what's so crazy though, King? And I get it. People should be skeptical. You should question every investment. Do your due diligence. I'm the first to tell you that. But what's so crazy though is that we the same people that go give a European designer $500 for a belt.
Exactly.
We'll go give a European liquor company $500 for a bottle in a club. The same people, $500 for some sneakers. But you'd be hard pressed to invest, not even give or donate, but to invest $500 in your own people's future and get a return.
Sorry for the feedback, everybody. I know Mysonne's trying to get his phone situation back in order. Jay, we actually have a lot of questions in the comments. I wanted to get some of their questions in here, if that's okay.
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, so one of the big questions we're seeing is from Luke Jackson. Luke Jackson asks, why do you call it an IPO given you're not publicly traded on any exchange and is rather a private fund?
Because there are different kind of IPOs. There's not just one kind of IPO. You do not have to be on an exchange to be an IPO. We are brainwashed to believe we have to use their exchanges in order to trade or to offer public shares. It's a privately held company offering public and the public offering of our shares of our company, which is an IPO. This is,
and then
you can ask any
to break down the abbreviation though. IPO. What does that?
IPO is an initial public offering.
Roger.
Not say an initial exchange offering. It's an initial public offering. And so we have our IPO. I don't believe in being a customer. I believe in bypassing the broker if I can. And so why pay the exchanges any kind of overrider fees for $9.7 million we can raise ourselves?
I feel that. All right. And then there was another question I saw on here. Juan Nance asked, how do you submit projects for the fund? He's currently building in Baltimore. Do people have that option?
Yes. I'm not looking to develop all the real estate, not even close. I just want to create a vehicle for us to have resources. So if you want to submit a deal, I want to look at your deal. My team does. I have over 100+ years of collective real estate experience around me. Go to Tulsa, TULSA, realestatefund.com to submit your deal, to open your account, to fund your account. Minimum investment $500. But I challenge you, don't just do the bare minimum, but then go spend $1,500 on a liability, on something else. Do what's in your capacity for us. It's not for me. That's what we got to get past. When we think somebody else is for them, especially somebody that looks like us, we feel like, whoa. But you'll go give it to Merrill Lynch. You'll give it to Morgan Stanley. You'll give it to Northwest. You'll give it to Goldman Sachs. You'll give it to Bank of America. And they'll give you back 3%. But you're cool with them because they don't look like you. But when it comes to your brother, who'll give you 8% preferred return and 50% of the profit you'll never get from Goldman Sachs, Merrill Lynch, Northwestern, then it's like, hey. So we got to check ourselves and be honest with ourselves about what's our level of, self-interest and self-love.
I get it, man. And I think a lot of people have to get and understand that getting Black people to come together in a collective conscience is a lot of work. And the fact that you've done it and created a platform for us to do that should be commended. I think we're super, and this comes from generational conditioning and fighting against each other for so long. The minute we want to organize, the first thing we do is criticize, which is, not necessarily our fault, but we have to lift each other up. And so that's why I'm glad everybody's asking these critical questions. I'm glad you starting this, you're stepping up front and answering questions from the people so that they can get a more clear understanding of what they're getting invested into. Mind you, an investment, which means risk. I mean, there's a lot of misinformed people that think an investment automatically means return. You need to go back and do the homework because an investment is always about risk. Okay. Yep.
Well, the ancient Greek philosopher Jay-Z said, no reward if no risk is taken. And I had to get off the boat if I'm going to walk on water. If we're going to go be great and walk on water and pull off a miracle of unifying our people and freeing our people, we got to get off the boat. Is it a risk to get off the boat and step on the water? It's a risk. Never been done before. But if we don't take some kind of risk induced, it's a risk for me. People act like I don't have risk. One, I invested $10,000 into the actual fund. Not to mention all the research and capital that my companies have poured in to develop the whole fund. The attorney fees, the accountant fees, the auditing fees, the operational fees, the marketing costs. What's about risk? Not to mention that I'm the Black man who's the face and the leader of this economic revolution. You want to talk about risk? For real? We really want to talk about risk? I got 2 daughters, 18 and 9 years old. I got a fiance getting married in 44 days. Everybody's concerned about me. You want to talk about risk?
Hey, I know all about risk. us having our own company. Of course, you have your own company, you're in real estate, and now starting something as big as the Tulsa Real Estate Fund. That's a lot of risk. It's easy to talk from the sidelines. Mind you, I'm not criticizing any of the viewers, but I'm just saying, you shouldn't necessarily criticize someone for stepping out front. Nobody's perfect, but if they're setting up a vehicle for us to essentially be successful, you need to commend that. And you should absolutely ask questions for transparency, which is what you're giving the people right now, stepping up here live and giving them answers.
All day. Listen, tomorrow we gotta talk tomorrow. Tulsa Talk Thursdays. Every Thursday we take questions. Every Thursday we do live stream and questions. Your brother not going nowhere. On top of that, in September, I'm doing a corner class in 13 cities for free. I'm gonna be in your hood for free. I don't hide behind cameras. I'm in these streets. So, transparency, baby. We good.
All right, Jay, I'm trying to bring Mysonne back in here. I appreciate you answering those questions.
Thank you, sir. Love y'all.
All right.
You good?
Yeah, I'm good. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you.
I don't know what I missed. I don't know. My phone just overheated for some reason. I'm actually out here with you in Atlanta just to finish doing a meeting, a big meeting about Keisha Clemens. So, but I was like, I got to make sure I get this interview done. So you got to excuse me on the technical difficulties, but I really know how important this was, and I wanted my audience, because I was getting so many questions, about the Tulsa Fund. I've been promoting it. I've been telling everybody, that they have to be involved in it. So, I was giving my knowledge of it based on studying and with what I've gotten from you and just understanding the overall need. So I just wanted to give you to give you my platform, to give, to silence the critic, to give people because there's always, like you said, man, like we realize when it's one of us, we always dot our own, if somebody would have.
You know what's crazy, King? I haven't seen one Caucasian, European, white person. I haven't seen one blog, article, or video from a non-person of African descent criticizing this fund. Of
course you won't, because that's how we've been taught, and
Not one.
It comes from what we've learned, man. It's Jimmy Lynch all over again, and we've learned somehow that that the white man's ice is colder, so. That's how we just move along in life,
Right, but you know what? God gave me revelation last night, and I don't get mad about the critics or skeptics. I don't get frustrated by it. It's all good. I understand. I get our trauma, but God gave me this revelation last night. It's like, what about the 9,000 people that's like, what's up, though?
Exactly.
That's the community, the people in the village that say, you know what, we with it. Think about it. Our people are not dumb. 9,000 people, including others of influence, working class, whoever, 9,000 people did not all invest into this fund because they dummies.
That's right.
People know my heart. They see my work. Past my words, they see my work. They see my business resume. They see my organization, my staff. They see how we move. And nevertheless, they want to be free.
That's
or
right.
They want to support our freedom. So I'd rather take 9,000 people that want to support our freedom and focus on them than 9 people that got criticism from the sideline who don't have a solution for us.
That's right. And a lot of us have that issue. And I'm glad that you're solution based and you look at the bright side. And that's the reason why, I always advocate for you, and I do with you on any level anyway. But I don't know the questions that we asked you, because there are a couple of questions that we had here. So I don't know what feels.
Most of them were, they asked, is the question about, is there risk? So we went over that. We covered the whole, is there risk? Yes. Cool. There's risk in everything, right? We covered that. The other one was more about, can they submit real estate deals? That was one. Someone asked, why do we call it an IPO? Because they didn't understand that an IPO is not just when you go to Wall Street and go on the exchanges. So that's something I explained at Vlad TV. That's the same thing, because people are just, misinformed. And that was it. Those are 3 questions.
Okay, so there's also another one that people asked. They were saying, okay, based upon the organization, why they want to know, why do the investors get 50% and the managers get 50% when they feel as if the investors are taking most of the risk? In their mind, they're saying, since we putting our money up,
Mm-hmm.
Why is it that the managers are making as much money as we are when we taking the majority of the risk?
I got a couple answers for you.
Yes.
First, let's go back and ask why we put our money in the bank or in our mutual fund or our 401k or our IRA. You taking the risk. Why is Merrill Lynch giving you back 3% and keeping 97%?
That's not a question, but you're not. You see this? That's what I'm saying. You're not the white man, so it's so hypocritical because we don't even. I remember Jay-Z was talking about that. About title and how when he started title, everybody had everything to say, but you don't question Spotify when they give you 2% of what you make. You don't question YouTube where they give you three cents off. Off your music.
It's okay then, but no, I'm not even done. That's one more technical. That's not even my best answer, honestly. That's just my little technical answer. That's my little jab. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
As the fund managers, for me to take on this level of scrutiny, liability, exposure, and risk, this is why I said, Mice, you want to talk about risk on your $500 investment, your $5,000 investment, your $50,000 investment, or whatever it may be. Let's talk about the risk that my 9-year-old daughter London and my 18-year-old daughter Anna, that they dad is taking by being the face and a leader of this economic revolution. You want to talk about risk, liability, exposure, where one thing go wrong?
And you also got to talk about the work that you put into even formulating. It's like,
bro, 4 years of work, of focus, of effort, of energy, of treasure.
Mm-hmm.
Taking my talent and resources of my other companies. All of that. I believe in fair exchange, no robbery. I don't want to rob the people, but y'all want to rob me? And people act like they're like, oh, Jay Morrison get the money. King, I got a staff of like 40 people. I have a whole operation. The attorney alone was 50 grand. Over 50 grand. So like, are y'all counting the auditor bills? Are you counting the accountant bills, the treasurer bills, the third-party administrator bills, the operational bills, the marketing bills, the digital marketing bills, the lights, the lease, the mortgage? So it's like, why does the fund get a 5.5% management fee and 50% of the profits? So the fund itself can be profitable and create more funds and keep the lights on and thrive. Yeah, we want to thrive too.
That's right.
And so we can protect our investments. Well, how are you going to protect the investments? You know what happened to Black Wall Street? They bombed it, they burned it. How are you going to protect this? How protect that? As in our fund, this first ever in history, Black-owned fund named after Black Wall Street that was bombed and burned down on June 1st of 1921, we got to protect the fund. Protection cost. Cyber protection, executive protection. We have risk and liabilities that no other fund or no fund manager in this country has to face. You talking about somebody that shut down one of the major restaurant chains in America. Talking about somebody that stood in the front line and led marches in the Freddie Gray uprising, Alton Sterling, Alfred Wright. You're talking about someone that has wrote a book called The Solution, How Africans in America Achieve Unity, Justice, and Repair. Someone that's behind the scenes organizing the Black Vote Day, created an African-American repair curriculum. Like, I'm a freedom fighter. I'm a liberator. On the front line, risking it all, super exposed. There's so many things that can go wrong that not even my fault, but that can all point back on me. So you want to talk about risk? I'm risking my freedom and my life to free my people. What's that worth?
That's a lot. I mean, I get it. But I have to ask
I'm saying to them, I know you get it.
Exactly. That's why I just got to ask the questions that I ask to me, because every time they come to me, I'll say I'm gonna ask him so he can explain to you. Because I'm talking for you and I'm giving my point of view. But I said let you hear from the horse's mouth so he can explain to you in detail. So you're not just getting it from me. So he can explain to you in detail what it really takes and what it entails to run an organization of this magnitude, to be involved, to spearhead, to be the face and be the brains and sit there and have to figure out how are we going to save and uplift and
invest and
invest.
make
Exactly.
good deals and transactions and keep it transparent and answer these questions and do all of that. Listen,
Exactly.
I have other organizations that got to get run too. But I take my time away from that to focus on this for us. And I got 2 daughters and a fiance who need their dad and their husband to be alive and free and at home.
I get it, King. Believe me, I get it. Okay,
So
so
for us, this
I
is
know.
our thing.
That's right.
What's the better vehicle that we have? Bank of
That's
America?
right. That's right. So another question that they ask, they want to know, like, what do you plan to do with the first 10 million? What is your first acquisition going to look like? What is, what is one of your plans to do with that?
I told Tamika yesterday, I said, Meek, I said, listen, everybody, what people got to understand is, I told you my story at the beginning of this. I come from real estate. I managed 2 mortgage companies. I built a multi-million-dollar real estate portfolio by the age of 28. I've been a realtor for Sotheby's, Caldwell Banker, Keller Williams, 2021. Owned apartment buildings, commercial property, residential property, built homes. So the real estate part, this is the fun part. This is the easy part.
Mm-hmm.
This is the easy part. So we have a couple hotels, a couple local hotels that we're vetting.
Mm-hmm.
2, we have an historical project that we are vetting in downtown Atlanta. I don't want to get too much detail about that. We're going to Tulsa, Oklahoma next week, and we have some subdivision opportunities in Tulsa, Oklahoma. We will be very active at the sheriff sales and tax lien sales in certain markets where you're getting interest on your money pretty much immediately or taking over control of properties if the interest isn't paid through tax liens. We're also looking at condo conversions. We have great relationships here in Atlanta with Invest Atlanta and other organizations. And we're looking at several hundred acres of land to be a retreat place and potential larger development several hundred acres of land, literally. And there's some towns that we're looking at acquiring, whole entire towns. And we got a really cool warehousing project that is I can't give all the details, but its projections and pro forma will be pretty impressive, I think the most. And so we got some plays. I'm just playing chess, not checkers. If I let everybody know what everything was, I'd have no leverage in my deals.
That's right.
I'd have no security on the deals. I can't go out and say, yo, we're going to buy this. That's not good business.
Exactly.
Because now
somebody can go get it before you.
Snap, he got a bag. You want to buy this? All right, I got you.
That's right.
Or the enemy, or an infiltrator, or whomever. So understand, as the fund manager, the fiduciary, the steward, I'm being smart. I'm being wise for us.
Makes sense. Okay, so listen, I know you've been here for a long time, and we've had you on. And I once again, I want to apologize for the technical difficulty.
All good.
But you still were able to navigate through it. Shout out to my boy Phil, who held us down. And that's what my team does. We hold each other down. But I want to just give us some last words. What do you want to leave the people with? For the people who supported you, to the people who are still unsure, who are skeptical, who are still asking questions. I want you to leave, because nobody can do it better than you. I want you to leave us with some last words on the people who are still on the cusp, that right there, like, damn, I want to invest, I just don't know. Or the people who are investing and want you to tell them something, to reassure them. Like, I want you to give us your last words.
My first words of my last words is I love y'all. Like I tell Mike that I can tell a black man I love him. I don't feel no kind of way about it. Black woman too. I call her king, and I call our women queens. It's just real love. Like, I can't help it. Like, I'm selfless. I love us. I show it through my work, not just my words. And we got to be okay with the fact that, you know what, maybe some people is on the up and up. Maybe some people are really riding for us. And if you look at my body of work, you'll see that. And you don't have to take advantage of this opportunity. It's okay. It's not a favor for me. It's not a donation. You're not supporting me. I'm just saying I created something for us. You can bet on that something for us and invest in that something for us. And if you have critiques or areas where you see that we can improve, email us, DM me with love, and say, bruh, that shit dope, but think about this right here. Do it with love. Like, I'm trying something for the first time that we've never had. Not one of your celebrities, not one of your rappers, not one of your ball players, not one of your business moguls, not one of your leaders have ever created a platform for us to be able to invest in together and profit from together. I'm not saying it boastful. What I'm just trying to say is that we haven't had it. So I did the work. I took the risk up front. Think about that. Who invested up front to take the risk to even see if this is possible? What if it flopped? What if it didn't work? What if we got denied by the SEC? What if regulations changed? Who was out of pocket then? Who was at a loss then? So I just say it to say is like, let's be financially mature, Malcolm called it. Malcolm said we're economically exploited. We're economically exploited because we're economically ignorant. And we need economic stimulation, economic collectiveness and cohesiveness. And I'm saying that to say, not to convince or plead to you to invest in this fund. I'm saying if you don't feel it in your gut, don't do it. That's fine. But for those who want to contribute in whatever way you can, financially, through your prayers, pray for my protection and the protection of this fund, through just shout out to whatever you can do, just understand that we've been economically enslaved on the plantation. There's not been a freedom vehicle for us. I just did the work because God gave me the gifts to be wise enough, smart enough, strategic enough to figure out all the nuances to pull something like this together. You can support that? Like, yo, I support it. The same way you support Gucci and Louis and every liquor you buy and the $20 a day habit you got, or the dope sheets on your bed, or whatever, your jewelry, or whatever habit, or whatever you spend your money. The $500 you spent on your kids for Christmas to make them happy for one day, where only the toy stores actually built legacy and built wealth. If you want a shot at us building wealth together, this is the first vehicle of its kind for our people, by our people. And so we're going to rock out. Some of us going to rock out, and some of us going to wait and see. And listen, y'all still welcome later on the next fund or the next round. It's all good. It's just love. I just want to do something for us that we ain't never had. So we either with it or we not, but it's still all love.
Once again, I salute you, Jay. I appreciate you, man. You know, I know the work, and I know that you on these front lines, and I know how much you love our people, and I know that's because I remember when we went and we had that meeting in inside of Sylvia's, and you sat there, and we had all these thoughts provokers, and you sat there and said, look, this is what we need to do, you know, and I remember you saying that, and I remember that you took the work and you didn't just leave that meeting with just words, and you took the effort to continue on.
I'm not playing about our freedom, King. I'm not playing about our liberation. Ain't no games.
And I see that, and I salute you. I ain't gonna hold you too much longer.
Thank you. Appreciate you.
I appreciate you, King. I love you. Everybody reach out to Jay, man. If you want to get involved, please reach out to him. Yep. You know, hit him up. The Tulsa Fund. Where can they find the Tulsa Fund?
Yeah, Tulsa, TULSA, realestatefund.com. All the questions you got, we have a frequently asked question, tab. All the questions, answers right there. Also, we're on SEC.gov if you want to read our circular, our operating agreement, our audit, all those things. It's all transparent. Your brother not going nowhere. Appreciate your support. I'm at Mr. Jay Morrison on Facebook, on YouTube, on Instagram, everything at Mr. Jay Morrison. TulsaRealEstateFund.com to start your free account. Buy shares, have ownership and equity. And I think a lot of people are going to regret if they don't get in and they're not a part of history and they have the opportunity for $500 to be a part of history and legacy, for $1,000, for a rack, for $2,500. Something that you don't blew anyway on lesser. So, love you though, King. Appreciate you for lending your platform, your voice, and for all your fighting and stand up you do for our people.
Well, I appreciate you too, King, man. Keep up the good work. Tulsa Fund, I'm with you. I'm riding with you, King.
TREF life.
Peace.
All right, peace, King.
Peace. So listen, I want to let y'all know, man, you heard it from the horse's mouth. my brother Jay Morrison. I told you I trust him. I believe in him. I know his heart. I know his dedication. And I know how he cares about our people, man. So now it's up to you. You make the choice. You can be a part of it or you don't. Nobody's forcing you. But this is like he said, this is the first vehicle that is giving our people the opportunity to pool our resources together to create intergenerational wealth, to leave something behind for our kids, to own something and you know and continue to have wealth. We look at every other culture and say, damn, why they got this? Is because before they got here, their financial path was already laid for them. And that's what we got to start creating. It's good to have a job and be able to create your money. It's good to make a couple of dollars. But when you making money every day and you just pretty much living to pay bills, you know, it doesn't really make much sense. This is an opportunity for us to create and own something that makes money while we sleep. You know, this is what our counterparts are doing, and this is why we're not involved in the race at all. So I just want to say that to y'all. I appreciate y'all. Hip Hop Success TV. You know, we're gonna do this next week. We're gonna have another special guest. I'm gonna have one of my brothers who did 17 years in prison for a crime he didn't commit and was just recently exonerated. So stay tuned for that. I appreciate y'all and I love y'all, man. Everybody have a blessed night. I'm about to go watch the game. I think LeBron and them gonna get cracked tonight. So we'll see. But y'all be safe, man. Peace.